Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring something really fascinating from our sources, cosmic vibe coding frequencies. The idea presented is that the universe, well, it vibrates like a symphony. And these codes, they're framed as ways to tune into those rhythms.
Right.
Our goal here, for you, is to pull out how these codes are suggested as a path to liberation, prosperity, even happiness, specifically for melanated Aboriginal communities of Turtle Island.
And with a focus on Newark, New Jersey, which is interesting.
Exactly. So let's get into it.
Okay, well, the historical context our sources provide is crucial here. They talk about these systemic, out-of-tune conditions.
Like what specifically?
Well, things like the dispossession of the Lenape from Lenapehoking, their ancestral land, and the forced displacement of Newark's Black community through things like redlining.
Right, redlining.
Yeah, and this created really deep generational trauma. But the sources don't just leave it there. They actually suggest this wound, this disconnection, it could become fertile ground, a place to, recode reality, find new frequencies.
That's a really powerful reframing. So the basic idea is vibration, right? Everything vibrates.
Exactly. It's where, modern quantum physics seems to echo ancient spiritual ideas like indigenous songlines.
So these cosmic vibe codes, are they like symbols, numbers, sounds?
All of the above, apparently. The sources describe them as structured codes, symbolic, numeric, sonic, linguistic, all designed to help you attune to these rhythms.
Okay. And the sources lay out 4 main archetypes for transformation. What's the first?
The first one is called Reinitiation. It's presented as a symbolic rebirth.
Yeah.
Purification. Accessing light.
So for a community, that means what? A renewal.
Radical life renewal, and activating ancestral memory. The sources point to the Newark Community Street Team's Trauma Recovery Center as a kind of modern example.
Like an initiatory space.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Helping people process trauma to find a new beginning.
Interesting. Then there's MelaninInitiation. How do the sources connect that to identity?
This one's pretty dramatic. They take carbon-12, the 666 structure.
Which often has negative connotations.
Right. But here it's reinterpreted as divine blackness. The idea suggested is that melanin acts as a kind of biocrystalline consciousness interface.
An interface.
Yeah, enabling body, mind, soul alignment. Reclaiming sovereignty by celebrating identity through self-love, ancestral meditation, that kind of thing.
Okay. Then Draconia coding language. Sounds a bit intense.
Well, the name is maybe a bit misleading. It's not about those rigid draconian systems. It's actually framed as a shift away from that, towards a clear, collaborative language called Dracon.
Ah, okay. So what does Dracon represent?
Empowerment, basically. Helping communities utter one's truth with, primal creative energy, moving away from control.
Got examples.
Sources mentioned Lenape language revitalization, or even policy advocacy like the NJ Institute for Social Justice rewriting social code,
Makes sense. And the last one, Divine Sophia codes.
These are presented as the blueprint of divine feminine wisdom for co-creation and what the sources call DNA activation.
DNA activation, meaning?
Unlocking inherent spiritual and creative potential is how they frame it. It reflects matriarchal philosophies, like the Lenapes. It calls for nurturing, compassionate leadership.
So those are the codes, but how do they work? The sources mention heart-centered resonance.
Right, this is key. It refers to psychophysiological coherence. Basically, your heart, brain, nervous system all syncing up.
So it's not just chilling out.
No, not just relaxation. It's described as an energized state of optimal function. Boosts resilience, mental clarity. Our sources call it a crucial activist's edge for communities under stress.
Preventing burnout, maybe.
Exactly. Transforming the internal ground for external action.
And this ties into ancestral wisdom as living code, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The sources explain Lenape ancestral wisdom, their creation stories, their cultural knowledge or ancestral OS, the big house religion, all is a resilient code.
And it's still alive today.
That's the point. Efforts like the Lenape Center or the Treaty of Renewed Friendship are presented as living applications of this code, restoring relationships.
Okay, need to touch on some nuance here. The sources mention quantum mysticism. How do they position that?
Yeah, they acknowledge it. They present it more as a powerful, poetic, or symbolic framework for consciousness rather than, hard scientific fact.
So maintaining some intellectual integrity there.
Right. And it also highlights another important point they make. This liberation they talk about, it's collective, not just an individual thing.
Community focus.
Definitely. Think of things like the Newark Center for Meditative Culture's BIPOC affinity groups. That communal approach is central.
So these aren't just abstract ideas. How do people actually use these codes? Tangible stuff.
Well, the sources mention individual practices like heart math techniques or using affirmations, but also community rituals like sharing ancestral stories.
And bigger movements.
Yeah, interestingly, they even frame something like the Black Lives Matter movement as a form of Draconia coding, uttering truth, demanding change, and economically too, like community-led businesses or the Delaware Tribe Service.
And like economic coding.
Exactly, rerouting resources back into the community, aligning with those older values.
So wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for you, our listener? Our sources seem to position these cosmic vibe coding frequencies as, well, practical tools.
Tools for liberating consciousness,
Yeah.
Healing trauma, building prosperity.
A way for communities to reclaim their soul, maybe? Fundamentally recode their reality?
That seems to be the core idea presented, that by integrating ancestral wisdom with these kinds of transformative practices, communities can potentially turn old wounds into wisdom, scarcity into abundance. It definitely makes you think. How might you dial in, manifest your own dreams, and maybe recode your own reality?